Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Essence and organist choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. Well, Christmas Eve 2020, not like any other Christmas Eve I have had in all my years at Vocal Essence and Plymouth Church. This is my 52nd year, and this is an unusual one. Here in this beautiful guild hall, just me, my son Tim, my videographer, and here we are, no children getting ready to sing, no services as usual. Those were pre-recorded, but just with a few people. So it's a different feeling this year for Christmas, though the music remains the same. And I thought this year it would be interesting to invite 5 composers who have written extensively for Christmas or have had a piece that's unique to the Christmas season. So we had Franz Biebel, whose Ave Maria we know. We had Pietro Jan, whose Jesu Bambino is an old chestnut. We had Sasha Johnson Manning, who's written lots of Christmas music. And then today we're going back in time to Claudio Monteverdi, born in 1567, died in 1643. Italian composer, string player, conductor, and priest. He was really one of those pivotal figures who moved music from the Renaissance into the Baroque. For many years, he was in Venice at St. Mark's Cathedral. Now, if you've not been to Venice at St. Mark's Cathedral recently or ever, it's an amazing, big, huge building. And the whole idea with its reverb in that building was to compose music that would just sort of sweep around that space. And that's, of course, a great deal of what he did. He wrote, for instance, his Vespers in 1610. And if you can just imagine, the choir part by itself looks really boring. It's not, but it looks that way because here is what the choir had to sing at the opening. And you say, yes. And I say to you, but while they are giving you that foundation sound, then there are the strings, the oboes, the trombones, the bassoon, and the organ giving you tons of flourish, but all of it anchored in that D major chord. So while they're holding that, you're hearing So you can just imagine sitting in St. Mark's and hearing this amazing amount of sound. And this piece goes on in the same manner with double choir, so that the choir might be on the left side and then on the right side, back and forth, giving you great sound, this music for the Vespers in 1610. Well, Monteverdi also composed 3 operas. The one that I love is, of course, the one called The Coronation of Popeya. And at the very end of it, the amazing duet that is sung. Find a recording to hear it. It's just a gorgeous, wonderful way to conclude that opera. Much of his music, of course, is lost, but we do have 9 books of madrigals and these religious works. One of the things that composers often would do, Handel did it, Bach did it, Monteverdi did it, was that they would write a piece of music and have several purposes. William Byrd did it. So here's one that Monteverdi did. You can hear at the beginning the text. It was, of course, originally sung in Italian, and the text would have been, "Here she is, Silvio, the one you hate so strongly. Here she is exactly as you wanted her. You wanted to injure her. You have injured her," and onward. So here is what you hear. Well, Monteverdi thought, I've written a wonderful little madrigal. I could do something more with it. So he also then took exactly the same music and instead put it into Latin. And the text in Latin says, "Jesus, who hung on the cross, my God, will deliver me with strength from my persecutors." So you can just imagine suddenly what you heard in the Silvio version, now in this version, same notes. Etc. Fascinating ideas that composers had. Well, the piece of his that I have found wonderfully fascinating and delightful, and the Plymouth Church Choir has sung a number of times, is a piece called Tatus Sum. It's the words from Psalm 121. "I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord." He wrote it in about 1640. And if you can just imagine doing this, he decided that he would have a little ostinato figure. An ostinato figure is a figure that keeps going over and over and over. And it's this. And that's it. So this ostinato figure is played, 200-300 times. So you get. So if you were the cello player, it gets to be a little boring. But what happens with it? So suddenly other things begin. And then suddenly the violins come in, but we still hear that ostinato. And then two sopranos come in. And then they go on to the next melody. And on from there. Well, you can take the same thing. This goes on, all of this text that comes in, and then suddenly you have two tenors. And then you have two trombones. So much interesting variety to it. And then later you take exactly, this goes as you see, and then suddenly what was becomes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Same figure, and then you hear. And that goes on its way. So you have that triple thing, and finally, at the end of that, it goes away for the final ending of the piece, which often happened, and that would be the Gloria Patri, glory be to the Father. So that comes in, they finished, and suddenly, And that then, we need to go back to that ostinato to end. So when they finish this little Gloria, here comes the ostinato. Have a wonderful day.